Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It is me, Curly K Glam, and I'm here today to bring y'all the grownish. I think this is episode 5, season 3, episode 5, called Gut Feeling. So I just want to say as a disclaimer, excuse my face. I know it looks a little swollen. I had some dental work done, so I know it looks like I got like acorns in my cheek or whatever, but that's that on that. um, so here we are, as y'all seen from the trailer. The girls and guys decide to throw Nomi a baby shower. And um, a lot of people were very touched by what was going on. Um, I'm not going to say that I was not touched, but, I just felt like certain pieces from the storyline was missing. So I'm not going to say that they didn't have a meaningful storyline, but I'm just going to say that I felt like they could have done more. I felt very underwhelmed with the storyline. I know that there are a lot of young girls out there who do get pregnant in college, and um they are faced with a decision on whether they want to stay in school and raise their child, or whether or not they want to leave school, give birth, or put the baby up for adoption, or whatever it is that they want to do. I felt like they I feel like they had the right idea. They just didn't go full throttle with the execution. I would have liked to have seen Nomi. I just want to say I think Nomi, like the Emily Arlook, the lady, or Emily Arhook, the lady who plays Nomi in this show, I think she was pregnant in real life. Now I wasn't sure, but like with her leaving the show, that kind of like solidified it for me. But let's see. I figured, from looking at the episodes prior, once they found out Nomi was pregnant, Nomi was very back and forth on her decision on what exactly she wanted to do with her pregnancy. And I feel like, which is, that's typical, that's normal. Um, I didn't quite understand why Nomi didn't tell Phil she was pregnant. I know that she was considering adoption, or at least I felt like adoption was going to be the main thing. I just knew that the writers were going to not set grownish up, but set Nomi up for a adoption storyline, which would have been okay. But I just wonder if they're going to follow the rest of Nomi's pregnancy for the duration of the show, because she did come to school 5 months pregnant, which means she's pretty much halfway through her pregnancy, if not more than that at this point, because we're on episode 5. And we don't know how far into the semester that they are, because grownish never gives you a timeline over the course of the school year of where they are in the school year. But I felt like, I know that people hate comparing Different World to grownish, but there are certain similarities. Like as I watch grownish, and because I binge watched all the seasons of Different World, and I know like a lot because Different World was a pretty influential show as far as black culture. Um, I feel like grownish in this day and age could have done what was not acceptable during the era of Different World. And what I mean by that is, I watched a documentary here. I think it was on Black Femininity's channel. So shout out to Black Femininity. She did a documentary on Lisa Bonet, and it did come out that Lisa Bonet was pregnant during the taping of A Different World, which is what led to her leaving A Different World, leaving school. Because on A Different World, it said that she basically decided to drop out of school because school wasn't her thing anymore. So she was actually pregnant with Zoe Kravitz at the time. And at the time, I think Deborah Allen, Felicia Rashad's sister, was in charge of, like the direction of A Different World. And so she said that she thought it would be genius if Different World captured, the pregnant mom going to school and still, aspiring to finish her goals and everything like that. But Bill Cosby said no. So because he felt like he didn't want to push early pregnancy and he didn't want to push single motherhood on his TV show, which, at that time now is the deed is done now, because I think A Different World is like at 30 years at this point. But I believe that Grownish could have definitely did that in this day and age, because now things are more acceptable. Not to say that what Nomi did wasn't crazy, because I absolutely think it was. And she was very regretful about her decision or her lack of decision making when it came down to her being with Phil and getting pregnant. But at the same time, I felt like, yes, present the situation of her being pregnant to our audience and letting them, choose on whether or not she wanted to keep the baby. Because either way, I feel like had she would have put the baby up for adoption on Grownish, or if she would have decided to put the baby up for adoption, or if she would have decided to, raise her child on campus, because they did mention a family dorm, they should have, or they should have, built the storyline around as her, looking into different options, like they said there was a family dorm. She can look into the different options and see how it would be, talk to some different girls who were in that same situation to see how it would be if she was to raise her kid on campus. And I know her family was pushing adoption, but all in all, it is her decision because she was the one that was pregnant. So I felt like Grownish could do more of a storyline besides of just sending her home, because I felt like sending her home was just the easy way out for them. They could have developed the story more. Not that it's not realistic that girls don't go home, but I felt like with their platform, they could have definitely, they could have handled it with more of a tact, so to say. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I wish they could have done more with her storyline with her being pregnant in school. That could have been really aspirational and motivational for girls who are pregnant right now in undergrad or in grad school to finish, keep going, attain your dreams, and support your family, support your child or whatever like that. Because you're going to want your child one day to grow up and go to school or whatever and attain their goals and their dreams and their aspirations. Also, I felt like they dumbed down her storyline about the whole Phil thing. Like, Phil was the father. I felt like, in my opinion, she should let Phil know whether or not she was going to put the baby up for adoption or keep the baby, or whatever decision that she decided to do. I definitely think Phil should have been a part of the journey, because in my state, the father has rights. I don't know how it goes, because essentially a lot of people say, well, it's my baby, my body. But essentially the father has rights. And typically when you give your baby up for adoption, the mother has to contact the father, and the father has to sign over his parental rights. So I feel like they just breezed by that whole part of the storyline. Okay, and as for, this might be short today, y'all, because, a lot of things happening in Grownish tonight. Well, today, because it's the next day, but a lot of things happened, but a lot of things didn't happen. I felt like, as friends, they were all very concerned about Nomi's decision, which is, normal. A lot of people put their opinion in it, but like Zoe said, all in all, the decision is hers and they can't make it for her. I'm definitely with Anna on the investigation that is so me. Like, I could have worked for, like what she said, the government, because I could find anything I want to know about somebody, like, because I just believe you should know who it is that you're dealing with, period. Like, especially finding her child's father. Absolutely. I was so for Anna doing that. And of course the thing about Sky and Rodney. Now, last night while people were live tweeting while the episode was on, I was watching to see what people were saying. And a lot of people were saying that the whole thing with Sky and Rodney was racist. I see where a lot of people got that from, and the way they presented it and the way they talked about it, because it's Sky and Jazz has such a kind of a abrasive but witty personality. I felt like it was slightly problematic in the things they were saying, especially about him being light skinned and Drake skinned and all this stuff, because it's a lot of issues in the black community that are plagued by colorism with the light skin, dark skin thing, and how somebody looks black or if somebody doesn't look black enough when somebody is black, all that. And I say that to say this. I feel like that whole thing should not have been had in front of this kind of an audience. And by this kind, um, grownish perpetuates itself to be a black show, but it's a black show in front of a predominantly white audience, and the basis of the show is at a PWI. So it's following the lives of black students at a PWI, except for Nomi, Anna, and Vivek. But Anna and Vivek are minorities as well. So it's just the fact that having a discussion about Rodney and his skin color and whether or not he looked black enough, I just thought that was stupid. Also, another reason why I didn't see a problem with it, I did see a problem with it and I saw how it was problematic. But another reason I didn't see a problem at first, like while watching it, of course, like, after I analyzed everything that was going on in the episode, which is my thoughts of why it was problematic. But while I was watching it, I just initially thought that Aaron and Doug was petty. And the reason why I thought they were petty is because this conversation of her dating Rodney and Rodney being white goes back to, I believe it was season one. It was season one when Sky and Jazz and them were freshmen, and Jazz and Sky were having a colorism / black woman discussion with everybody at the table. And all of them were at the table, I think, except for maybe Zoe. I don't know if Zoe was at this chat they were having, but they were all at Titanium, and they were speaking about interracial dating, or they were speaking about how black women are at the bottom of the totem pole, and how black women seem to always get picked last out of all the other groups of women. And so Jazz and Sky felt like, as black women, they had slim pickings in finding dates at a PWI. And so they got on Aaron because they said Aaron only dates LUCA said Aaron only dates Egyptian queens and not Nubians, meaning he always dates light-skinned girls who have curly hair or they look mixed race, versus dating someone who is brown or darker skinned because he doesn't find them as attractive. That is where that whole thing with the whole Rodney being black and white thing. And then Sky actually walked up to Doug in a party and asked him, why doesn't he talk to black girls? So I feel like they were just giving her a dose of her own medicine. And that comes back, for the people who haven't watched Grownish, that's the only reason why I'm explaining this, the previous seasons of Grownish. That's why it goes back to Doug saying, if I never knew what irony meant, I know what it means now, because that's the situation that it was. Her looking at that picture and finding that Rodney had white parents. To me, clearly, Rodney was adopted, because Rodney, to me, he looks black, or he looks like he may be mixed with black. So, I just, I don't know why that would be a big issue for Sky. I know a lot of people were saying, like, it's 2020, interracial dating is okay, which I have no problem with interracial dating. But Sky, I guess it was a big deal to Sky because Sky made it clear that she wanted to date within her race, which is okay as well. And that she even questioned Jazz when she saw Jazz talking to a white guy at the bar. She was just like, are you really serious? Like, so I just feel like that's the reason why she was catching all this flack for talking to Rodney. Now, there was absolutely nothing wrong with her talking to Rodney. There was absolutely nothing wrong with her having feelings or being attracted to Rodney. But it was just a simple fact that that's what happened in season 1. And so Doug and Aaron were giving her a dose of her own medicine. Seeing Nomi leave school, I saw that Yara tweeted that scene was hard for her to film because she was literally crying in real life. But I guess that was the decision that was best for Nomi. So that's my take on grownish gut feeling. Season 3, episode 5. I don't really have nothing else to say outside of that. I definitely think, oh yeah, and this is going to be the title of my video. LUCA is not the father, okay, y'all? For all y'all who think that LUCA is Nomi's baby daddy and Nomi is leaving to come back and bring this whole plot line that LUCA is the baby daddy. Clearly, if y'all watched episode 1, Nomi said, or episode 2, Nomi said who her baby father was. They went back to the scene to the day that she met Phil after she left Titanium with Zoe for getting margaritas. Zoe was clearly in a relationship at that time with LUCA that Nomi was talking about. So LUCA is not the father, everyone. But I just want to say that I think this is setting it up for a second pregnancy. Because in the next episode, Aaron is going to be looking for a job. And I think Zoe is going to try to hook him up with her father. And I don't know why Andre would say, is my baby pregnant? And Aaron said, she's not pregnant. At least she's not pregnant by me. So I don't know what that's supposed to be alluding to. I don't know if that's foreshadowing. But I always have this theory that LUCA and Zoe are going to have a pregnancy scare. Or Zoe is going to get pregnant from that backslide they had in that kitchen. And we're going to see as the season develops. Because next week we will be on episode 6. So we will see y'all. Rate, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at CurlyKGlam. And I'll be back with more videos. Deuces.